Hello. Hi. Welcome. It's time to talk about it. It's a lot. I've done my best to try to condense things. All right. The purpose of me sharing is the hope that it helps somebody. The hope that it will help somebody recognize if they are in something similar. It's empowering for me to speak about my experience because now it's like I'm getting to tell my story and I'm getting to tell my story, not a story that was swayed by anything, not anything that was manipulated into anything. And actually, before I go into that, I'm like 99.8% sure that nobody knew any of this was happening. Just so you know, I will be uploading a few videos on the topic. I'm going to try to upload them all pretty much in the same day or maybe 2 days. I'm not really sure yet. It started out with the love bombing. Of course. Of course. Everything was great, as it should be. It shouldn't start off with chaos. And it just seemed like we got along very well. It seemed like we connected on a lot of things, had a lot of things in common. Of course, seemed like flirtation. It seemed like the cute, fun, fluffy things that take place when you first get to know somebody. But something that stood out to me was she said, I think you're my soulmate, but it was the first conversation. And to me, it was a little bit much, but it was also, I kind of thought, okay, well, maybe you're just like flirting. People have different ways of expressing themselves. So I'm figuring that out. I don't know you. So yeah. Time goes on, we're having a good time. We're sharing information about each other, and she figured out the things that made me tick. She figured out the things that I would say the deficiencies. With those things, she was able to boost me up. There was also sharing of a ton of info on her part. Now, she'd shared some things, granted, they should have been shared. It made me feel like, oh, okay, one, like, you're trusting me, like, you're able to trust me. That's good. You're not going to hold back information. You're not going to be a lying tailed individual. Little did I know, while she was sharing a lot of information, there was a lot of information that was omitted. I firmly believe something was omitted, and it's something that I should have been told because then I would have had an opportunity to make a decision on whether or not I wanted to stay and go through that or leave. Somebody knew something wasn't right. Nobody said anything. Victimhood. In the opening up about a lot, it was always other people. It was always her being the victim, being at the center of all of these horrific things. Never what she'd done. Yeah, there was a period in time where I wasn't nice. I can mention it was like there's none of that. There's absolutely none of that. Yeah, I think that she used that as an excuse or as a reason to excuse everything that I will be talking about today. Now, the two things that I mentioned, that didn't register as anything. Now I'm on the outside looking in, and now I see the, what is it, the love bombing and the victimhood. Which it kind of started with the gaslighting. There would be conversation. I would be told that I said something that I didn't say, or that I did something that I didn't do, or that I didn't say something that I did say. And I purposefully, I'm an introvert. I don't just go and talk to everybody. I don't talk a lot, except for when I talk a lot. Like if you watch my videos, I talk a lot. I'm not just running my mouth, just letting hot air come out. There's a reason for the things that I'm saying. So to be told that I didn't say something when I know that I did say because I wanted to tell you that, that was weird. At the time, I just attributed that to miscommunication. It would often happen on the phone. And then it would happen sort of later in the night. So it was like, okay, you could be tired, or okay, you're having a glass of wine, maybe like you forgot. Keep that in mind. And then, yeah, it was just kind of weird. But then the intensity sort of increased. I noticed like she really, really, really believed those things. And I remember having a few arguments about it. At the time, this did not happen frequently. This is when we were both living in our separate states. I was in New Jersey, she was in Connecticut. And last thing I know, she is back in the Connecticut area, so watch out. What I will not do is put an identity out. What I will do is if you are concerned that you have met the same person, and I'm sure I've said this in some of the other videos, but this will probably be the one that I upload first. You can reach out to me in my DMs. I'm only on Instagram right now. I can confirm or deny. Give me a name, I'll confirm or deny. I'm not going to send out a name or anything like that. I'm not for hiding abusers. I just also want to make sure that this isn't the case of mess. And then if in the case that she does go and get help, I don't want the kind of thing where now like your name is on the internet and the world hates you even though you're trying to do better. I doubt it will happen. I doubt she'll do better, but hey. I started to hear accusations unlike my character. I was accused of things that to me didn't really make sense. They weren't like me, they weren't like anything I'd shown. It was also expressed that some of these things had happened in the past, or she'd been tricked, or she'd been this, that, and the third. Just different hurt. I was in a different time. I just feel like, okay, what happened to you then, that happened to you then. I'm not saying that it's easy, but that has nothing to do with me. This girl was really smooth with everything, like super smooth, dangerously. For that, I really just don't think that she should be on the streets. I think that she should be studied. I'm going to really get into the meat of it, and I'm going to show or do my best to try to give examples of things that happened. It all happened very smoothly. It all happened out of earshot. This never happened in front of other people. Even if you aren't dealing with a narcissist, like toxic is toxic. We moved, and this is when everything really started to hit the ceiling. I thought that it was the stress of moving. I thought it was the stress of adjusting, and I also thought, okay, well, I mean, you have all of these other things that have happened. The way that she spoke to me started to change, and I just feel like this is when the mask started cracking. Where there was once a person who was attentive, who was fun, was cute, wanted to do all these things, was gave compliments and things like that. It just started to dwindle. It started to dwindle a bit. The affection took a dip. Before I go there, I remember one scenario where this was one of the first nights that we were in the new place. Gorgeous place. Side tables built in. Really fun. We're brand new. Like the place was brand new. We were the first people to live there. When you go in somewhere, you know you got to give the stuff back. Give it back nicely. I don't know if I gave her a cup of water, a glass of water, or she got the cup of water, but I gave her a napkin and I asked her to use like a paper towel or something because we didn't have coasters at the time. And then she said, "Can you not criticize everything I do?" I think that was the time where I closed the doors. There were French doors, I just closed them. Because what? How did we go from, hey, can you use like a paper towel or like a napkin or something so you don't leave rings on the table that we have to give back? So can you not criticize everything I do? I think it's one thing if I actually was criticizing everything. Granted, the method of communication was, the delivery was trash, but it was just a big leap. It was a big leap. So yeah, affection took a dip, and I remember one day asking her about it. One thing about me is you don't have to play Blue's Clues to figure out how I feel. I'm gonna tell you if I actually care about you. We're sharing a space. I'm gonna tell you how I feel. Not in there. Let's have a conversation about it. And I would want somebody to have a conversation with me. I'm asking like, hey, like, really, the compliments and things are like slowing down. Like, I'm noticing a shift. Like, is something going on? Like, are your feelings changing or anything? She's like, no, no. She looks at me and says to me, do you remember when you said you'd kill yourself if I left? Ma'am, I'm sorry. Is it crack? Is it crack? Because, no, I don't remember that because I never said that. Were you high? Were you on the sauce or something? Because, no. So, of course, I'm confused. I'm pissed. Yeah, like, it's just like, how did you, what? How does it get there? Where did you hear that? Because you didn't hear that from me because I never said that, because I never felt that. And then we're going back and forth. So this is where deflection came in. I brought up a difference in behavior, like trying to have a conversation about it. Now it's like, hey, yeah, do you remember when you said you'd kill yourself? You're throwing something at me that's not true. You're freaking gaslighting me, telling me that I said something that I definitely did not say. Like, if my mom right now, who I love, like, if she decided that she never wanted to speak to me again, I'm not gonna kill myself. You're not my mom. You're nowhere near close to that. Why would I have? So you're deflecting the situation and you're gaslighting, causing just chaos for what? I don't know. And I won't know because you can't make too much sense out of crazy. And with a narcissist, a lot of things won't really make sense, especially at first. Paranoia started to skyrocket. She Spoke often about being a skeptic, about being a free thinker. I'm sure that there are some ways that we're free, but a lot of it gave paranoia, to be very honest with you. People had ulterior motives, constantly thinking that, well, this isn't real and this isn't real, and well, you're trying to do that because of that. I mean, you're appearing this way, but it's really this. Like, and it would typically be something negative. It would typically be something sinister. And I'm thinking, well, dang, who hurt you? Like, what happened? What happened? And like, just explain, yeah, like, I've been like mistreated and this, that, and the third, which, okay, I mean, I've heard of stories of mistreatment, but, and I remember bringing up like therapy. If you're carrying around a lot of pain, you should go to therapy so that you can shed some of that, figure out how to deal with it and move forward. And then it became, well, I mean, do you think you need therapy? You're complaining about pain from the past, and frankly, the past is leaking all over the present. This isn't about me right now. But what? And deflection would happen a lot. I ended up saying no, and I realized, like, unfortunately, there were a lot of times where weird things like that would happen, and I would just like sort of be put on the spot and I would scramble. I wasn't used to that. I'm used to genuinely connecting with somebody. You're having a conversation and you're really actually having a conversation, a dialogue. There's no weird games and this, that, and the third. This is something that she knew. The paranoia and projection. I remember one time her calling me calculated, and I didn't understand that. And I don't know, that kind of pissed me off. I'm not calculated, I'm genuine. I'm showing up as I am. What I'm about to say, all of these things, it sounds crazy overt. It sounds like super overt. It sounds bananas while I'm reading it, while I'm talking about it. The way that things would happen, I'm telling you, would unfold so smoothly. And it wasn't something that happened all the time. So keep in mind, yes, these ugly things are happening. And it's also going back and forth to like this really once sweet person. And it's just like I knew, like around the corner, behind the hurt, behind this, that, and the third, there's also this person because of the love bombing, because of the representative that I met in the beginning. I remember one time giving her a massage. I offered her like a back rub. Okay, my back started to twinge. My back started to twinge. So then I asked her to get my back too. And she's like, "Yep, offer for something because you really want it." But as much as I advocate for myself, I don't understand how she would have gotten to me being sneaky and maneuvering. I'm not being sneaky and maneuvering. If I want something, I'm going to ask for something. If it's something that I should get myself, I'm going to go and get it. There's no games. But with a person like that, they are games. So much of what they are is fake. So much of what they're trying to do is a mind game on top of a mind game on top of a mind game. So believing that anything is real, believing that anyone is real, believing that anybody can ask for what they want, no, they don't see that because they don't live that. And that's not something that I understood at the time. Not giving you time to think. That is another manipulation tactic. Now, this wouldn't happen all the time, like with everything, but it happened enough. She would ask rapid fire questions, like we were in a courthouse and I was somehow on the stand. Pissed me off because why am I on trial right now in my home with the person who's supposed to be my partner? She'd ask a question and then she would ask another question based off of the answer. But it wouldn't really be a question. It would be like, so you think blah, 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 blah. That is not a question. That is a statement that you threw a question mark on. And I would notice that a lot of times it would sort of just like delete. It would reduce a lot of what I said down to something and distort it into something else. Distortion is another one. But back to it, she would ask a question and then she would like give a statement off of what I said, which was not really what I said. It was something that she twisted, and then put a question mark on it as if it were a question, and then go back and ask the first question again differently, and then ask a question, an actual question. Boom, 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 boom. Just rapid fire, making me feel like oh God, like I did something wrong. I would be feeling like I did something wrong, even though I know I didn't do anything wrong. Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. There was also a control in the way that I answered questions. Because according to her, she'd been lied to and manipulated in the past. This could be true, But I also know that she was doing this. Everything that she had complained about in the past with other people is exactly what she did. She would want a yes or no. Who are you to tell me how I can answer a question? No. So, of course, I'm not taking that. I'm not having it. We're arguing. If you ask me a question, I should be able to ask questions to seek further understanding. You're often saying that I'm gaslighting, saying that I'm saying things that I didn't say and doing things that I didn't do and saying not saying things that I did say. So now I started to become like extra careful about what I said. So yeah, I'm asking a lot more questions now to try to avoid this, not realizing it's not me, it's this person. An example of that. So yeah, we were living in the place. It was about time to renew the lease. We got the letter and we're up talking about it. So she asked me, like, do you want to continue? Like, do you want to like renew the lease? I used to go and visit her and things would be clean. I thought that I would have been going into the same kind of a situation now living together. We get there, it's me doing the cleaning. I remember just being pissed about it, trying to talk about it, and just being irritated and disgusted and feeling like a parent because I'm asking you to clean in a place that you live in and you pay for it too. At what point do you clean it up? Like what is the filth level for you, I guess? And she's like, oh, I mean, you always get to it before I do, so I just don't do it. I'm sorry, that's a cop out because you see that it's getting cleaned. You know that you haven't done it. You know that you have not cleaned the bathroom. You have the ability to say, hey, don't do that this time. I'm going to get it, or I'm going to get it on this day, or whatever it is. Didn't happen. Same with literally anything. Did not happen. So one day I didn't clean it. I just did not clean. And I just tried to see how long it would take. And I usually don't like doing things like that, but I just let it go. You're saying that you're going to get it, but I got to it fast and you don't really have a timeline. I have a timeline once a week. And in the middle of that, in between the deep cleanings, wipe stuff down. Hit some Lysol, something. Yeah, I let it go. Just it was just nasty. I started wearing shower shoes. I just wanted to see how long it was gonna take, and then I couldn't take it anymore. Because what do you mean? It's nasty. You can see the dirt in the shower. You can see a ring around the toilet. You can see like I don't live like this. I don't want to live like this. And then it became this whole thing with a freaking chore situation. We had had this conversation time and time again. She then asked me to make a let's come up with some days. Okay, great. But now I'm still having to remind you of the days. And what really bothered me was she had schedules for things in her phone. Every single day she would be in her phone planning things, planning finances, like setting alarms, like all kinds of things. You can set alarm for everything else. Back to the story. Keep this in mind. She asked if I wanted to renew the lease. And I said, if it's going to continue like this, no, I really don't want to. I don't really want to continue. But like, can you commit to helping? Like, can you commit to chiming in? This is a yes or no question. That's what she said. This is the yes or no question. Like, do you want to stay with me or not? Like, do you? This is not a yes or no question. It's exactly what I said. If you're going to continue like this, no, I don't want anything to do with you. You can go to hell and back. And it was just, she went back and forth, yes or no, and yes or no. And I'm just like, I'm done. Just like needing to have control and making things a lot more difficult than they ever needed to be. And then it was like, oh yeah, I'm sorry. Like, I wouldn't want to end something like that. I would feel so bad. Like if the relationship ended because I wasn't cleaning, because I wasn't doing this, that, and the third. She would ask a lot of questions sometimes. And I feel like this started to happen more so when we were away. Ask a lot, God dang, it's still long. Ask a lot of questions and not really share what she thought. And then, I'm used to like a back and forth. You tell me what you thought. And then eventually like she would share. I would ask and she would share. And then I would sometimes find out that like, okay, well she didn't agree. And then it's like she was trying to see what I thought. So it's just like, oh well, I think you're dumb, but I'm not gonna tell you that you're dumb. I'm just gonna try to understand your logic. And I hope that you get that it doesn't make sense. It was that kind of a thing. twisting of words and cherry picking. So I would say something or air a grievance, and then my words would be twisted. Kind of going back to the word questioning, she would do this thing where she would say, "So you think that boom, 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 boom." And it wouldn't be a question, but like she would throw a question mark on the end of it. And here I am filling in the blanks, trying to flail it and correct it because what she'd said was not what I said. What she'd uh, gotten from it, what she'd condensed it to, was not what I said. A lot of times, what I would say would be transformed. I'm giving beef stew, and somehow you've turned this into a berry reduction. First of all, that's nasty. Secondly, it's completely incorrect. When we moved, things were tight. To go out and eat all the time, to constantly like be buying things, that's not. I would make food and I would send lunches and breakfast, send snacks, just I'm sending meals, I'm sending home cooked things. Deciding to cook, that's on me. That's also me looking out for you. If funds are not what you want them to be, if things are uncomfortably close, to be buying stuff, it just doesn't make sense. Bowls were coming back full. They would sit for hours, just like until the end of the day. And then you'd have to throw it out. It's one thing for it to come back and like you just put it in the fridge and like eat off of it later or eat it another day. Or if you don't want to give it to me or something, but it just wouldn't happen. So I'd spent all this time making this stuff. And instead of saying, hey, like, I don't want this, or hey, this is too much, or hey, I don't like this, or anything, it's just going in the trash. I've lost out on time trying to make sure that she was good. And I could have been just making things for me and then spending the rest of the time doing whatever I wanted to do. And it seemed like it was taken advantage of and it wasn't really appreciated because it was weird that, okay, this is making Facebook posts. Like you're going to share that, okay, yeah, like she makes food for me and I'm just so thankful and la la la. But then you're throwing it in the trash. What do you, that's weird. I'm complaining to you that I'm tired. My simple request was, hey, if you don't want this, I get it. Just like let me know and I'll eat it. And then I don't have to spend some time like making other food and doing this, that, and the third. That turned into, so you want me to eat what you eat? La 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 la. How do we get there? How do we get there? Yeah, I would spend a lot of time trying to debunk what she said I said, even though it's not what I said. And I was thinking that she didn't understand. The next one is reactive abuse. So she would poke and prod and do these weird things intentionally to draw out a reaction. And then when she got the reaction, it would be like oh, yep, there it is. There she goes. Even give it like a nickname, which that to me is disgusting. It's disgusting. And then would like sit back and say, oh, in my house, we didn't yell. So this is, mm, that's a lot. It's like, yeah, no, I know that y'all didn't yell. You didn't even talk about anything. How can you yell? How can you be loud about what you don't even speak? Stuff comes out passive aggressively. Stuff gets held on to you. Alrighty, playing on your fears and the blame shifting. So there was a really weird thing that would happen where I would go and try to speak about something, try to have a conversation. Instead of empathizing or like trying to have a dialogue, it would turn into, so what do you want me to do about it? So what should I do instead? And it's not like it would always have like a nasty tone. Sometimes it would, but it's just like instead of being a human and being there and being present, it's like now you're putting everything in my hands. Yes, I have a problem, but like bringing something up is a chance to understand where, like, what did you mean behind this, if anything? So then, in that same token, like, I would be deemed as controlling, and that's something that she also used against me. And I feel like this was intentional, to be honest with you. There was a period in time where, no, I had to be in bed early for work as usual, but she was coming home later because she finally, like, found somebody else to connect with. And the sister's baby dad. But what bothered me was like we're not seeing each other now. Like some time had gone on. I asked her to make some time because like I want to see you just outside of the weekend. We live in the same place and I get to see you for like a few minutes before I close my eyes. I want to go to sleep and she likes to chat. So it just really wasn't working out. So I asked her to make some time for us. But this became a thing of, well, what time do you want me to come home? Or what time do you, how long should I be on the phone with him? So I get out of work at this time, so I do this, and then I decompress for this amount of time. So that means I can be on the phone with him for about 20 minutes or 30 minutes or whatever the time. I wasn't trying to give a whole entire adult a time frame on when they could come home, how long they can talk to their friends. I was simply asking for her to make some time for us within the week. But control was put in my hand, control was put on a situation where it wasn't even necessary, and then used against me. And apparently the friend had something to say, something about me having her on a leash. I repeatedly said that I didn't want to put a time frame on anything, but it's like now there was an issue with me not wanting to put a time frame on anything. So it was just really confusing experience. Lack of empathy and emotional availability. Good Lord, I can't speak. Meet the robot. Have you ever sat with somebody or told somebody something that really bothered you or something that really made you happy, and you're met with just like a blank face, blank tone, just completely devoid of any signs of being alive? I have. It's not fun. 0 out of 10, do not recommend. Yeah, I found, unfortunately, like, she was great at talking. And I mean, I was actually interested in a lot of the things. Like, this was something that brought us together. Like, you can see my alien shirt. Like, I'm into, a little woo. It just really bothered me that, like, a lot of times it was just her talking. If there's no space left for you, kind of jump in and they make space for you. No, she will keep talking a lot of times. It's just like, well, what am I here for? Am I your freaking journal? Like, go get a diary. You can go around the corner to the Family Dollar and get a journal. Yet here you are just talking at me, talking over me, not connecting. That's freaking frustrating. And it would just go on, and I would be drained. And this wouldn't happen all the time. We did have a conversation about it. And then she said that she saw it. She said that she realized it. But then for some reason at the end, blamed it on me and said, well, I mean, you said that you struggle to focus. Would you say that blah, 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 blah? Like, would you say that it's just you? Would you say that maybe it's just your attention span? Hi, I'm an introvert. Most people talk more than me. For my whole life, everyone around me, but a few people, just spoken for much longer periods of time than I have spoken. I'm not new to this. I'm true to this. I understand when somebody's just talking a lot. You're hogging the airtime. This isn't something ooh, like a new discovery. Like, no, like, you're hogging it. You're using me as a freaking accessory to your conversation. A journal without my consent. I didn't ask for this. I wanted to connect, not be talked at. I've been going all of my life in conversations. You're now going to try to depend it on me that you talk too much? No, ma'am. Unfortunately, I do believe that there was some jealousy. There were things that were, I won't go into actually. I'll just stick to one thing. We'd moved out, I had certain goals. Now, this place was a place that I wanted to move to. I also knew of her desires. I also knew of the things that she liked to do. We like to do the same things. And some of the things, they were a bit much for me. The place that I wanted to move to, it was a benefit. It was a benefit for both of us, either together or separately. If we didn't work out and she decided that she liked the area, she would still have access to so many of the things that she loved. And the big thing was this one goal that she spoke so much about. So I'm a creative, I am an artist, and I was able to get some of my things in the store. This was a huge moment for me. I was over the moon. I remember crying. I was so happy. I was thriving. I'd reached at that point my highest paying job, um, a real fun career path, like a really cool career path, something that could open up doors for me as well. So I had like these things going for me. Seemed like she was happy. It seemed like she liked it. There were things for her to do. She was getting into some newer career paths as well. And then all of a sudden, she asked me to move. See, asking somebody to move is not a sign of jealousy. What did it for me was there was absolutely no thought whatsoever put into it. So here you have, I finally make it. We're in a place where you can crush these goals. You're starting to do better. Like your jobs are starting to open up for you of a certain caliber. Um, and then you want to move, but you haven't thought about it. You haven't thought about like what it costs, what it looks like. You haven't thought about like literally anything about it. Not at all. So then you definitely haven't done any of that for like what it could look like for me as well. But you're asking me to uproot my life. So I had an issue with that. And the biggest thing was I'd been in this store for months and she hadn't gone to see anything. She hadn't gone to visit the store. I get that we live in the same place. I get that you've seen everything. But this is an accomplishment. This is something to be celebrated on the main strip. That was huge for me. Didn't go to see it, but you want to move. And use the reasoning, well, I moved for you. I would never just ask you to move for me. There was always going to be a little bit more. For me, moving just because of somebody, and it's not saying that, oh, they're just a little thing. No, no. Somebody could lose their mind. Well, what does life look like? Is it reasonable? Will it have you in a ditch? Will it have you in a hole? Financially, mental, like, what does anything look like? Everything in me screamed no. At this time, I'd unfortunately also I'd seen instability with jobs. I'd seen substance users. I'd seen some things that just had me really uncomfortable with the potential of now being stuck paying so much more. On top of this, it derailed every plan that we discussed. And here's something that stood out to me, and it stood out to me more so after. So she'd spoken about house hacking, and she'd been talking about it for a long time, like before we even got together. This was her passion. This was going to be her thing that she wanted to do. So then one day she turns over to me and says, well, how much are you willing to put into it? After not asking me to join it, after not asking me to be a partner, absolutely nothing, none of the above. She just turns over and asks me, well, how much money are you going to put in it? Like then it became like, oh, well, I mean, you're going to live in this place and you don't want to pay for it and this, that, and third. And I ended up feeling pressured and I said, okay, well, I mean, yeah, like I'll help, but like I'll do some research. So, do you want your name on it? Like, yes, yeah. Like it was the kind of thing where, okay, you're asking all these questions. I'm not used to this crap. I'm used to a normal conversation. So like I'm low-key panicking and it's just easy for me to get pressured into doing things because I'm not used to this crap. But I didn't want to be seen like as a user. But I don't know. It's just all of these questions, all of these things. And she did that and she was able to take away like something, but she also never said that she had a problem with it until the end. Actually, she never said that she had a problem with it. So then she was like, well, I mean, you want to live in this place, but you want to have your name on it, but you don't want to pay for it. That does sound crazy. But what also sounds crazy to me is the fact that you didn't ask me to be a partner in this. I'm not going to get paid for this, but you're asking me to put my money into it. Then you came here with all these crazy tail questions so fast that my freaking head is spinning. I'm living in chaos. So yeah, I said something crazy. But then you want to use that against me. It's like she created situations and then used them against me. But then the biggest thing to me was we'd spoken about marriage. I know. She didn't want to legally be married. Her explanation was like, I don't want somebody to come and like take half. I wasn't coming in to get stuff from you. I wasn't coming in to take things from you. I wasn't coming in to extract. I came in with the understanding that your business was going to be your business and mine was going to be mine. To not want to be legally tied due to the possibility of separation and the fear of what that brings, but to want me to put my funding into her business venture, to me, that's just pretty backwards, but narcissists are full of contradictions. This video is just gonna be long. I tried. There's just so much. So selfishness. Wanting me to pick up and move without any sort of consideration of what that would have looked like, and not even showing up. Like my mom, she came to visit, she went to see it. My friends who were there, we went to see my stuff. They'd seen it already. They bought some of it. But it's support. It's really about support. And she didn't go until months later. Lying and secrecy. Boundaries are one thing. Letting things happen naturally, that's one thing. Lying and being secretive is another. She'd volunteer information, but she would also hide a lot of things so seamlessly that I would not have found out. I asked if she'd cheated previously. Like what are some of the things that went down? She said no. I had asked about gaslighting being a problem before. She said no. Imagine lying because it's Tuesday and the sun has risen. She also lied about who she was talking to at times, leaving out the fact that she was calling and speaking with an ex. But she so quickly volunteered and let me know she was talking to and this person and that person and blah, blah, blah. She also lied about substance use by hiding it. She hid it. I didn't realize that it was like that. I thought, okay, well, yeah, like you're just chilling, like you have a little thing of wine like here and there. There would be periods of things really being great. Like there was a long time of it actually. We were able to talk about a lot, and a lot of these things sort of subsided. They stopped until they didn't. It can only last for so long. Hypocrisy and double standards. There would often be complaints about what this person did, what that person did, how this affected them, being irritated, being disgusted with what people did and said, just for her to be doing the same exact things. And I would just be so confused because I remember one time where she was like pouring her heart out about something. And everything that she's saying, I'd lived through specifically with her. Hey, do you hear yourself? This is you. Going back to the time where she asked if I remembered saying that I would end my life if she left. Even in the midst of the arguing and like saying that no, like I didn't say that, I asked, like, what's the connection? How did you come up with that? Oh, no reason. What? Because it seems like there should be a connection. If we're having a conversation, usually things connect. Speaking of hypocrisy, there was a period of time where she was working multiple jobs. I wasn't really too sure of the schedule. It kind of fluctuates. So I asked if she was coming home from work. That seems simple enough. And she's like, oh, well, why? I was, oh, yeah, like, I just, I don't really know. Like, if you're coming home, like, or different days, just want to know if you're coming home. Is this one of the days where you go to the other one or no? That's the biggest connection to it. And she's like, oh, okay, well, I mean, there's always a reason why. Like, people want to know, just ask why. You don't just ask if I'm coming home. There's no reason. Like, I just, I don't know. Like, is this one of the days that you're coming home, or like, are you going to work? Like, do you? I just want to know. There was really no depth to it, but like she argued me down about that, and firmly believed that there was a reason, and that I was lying, and it became this whole weird thing. And I'm like, I'm sick of your freaking paranoia. Like, well, is there something going on? Like, get the what I should have realized, well, no, what I didn't realize at the time was accusations are often confessions. So there might have been something going on at some point, or a guilty conscience based off of some things that she's done in the past. And I remember it just pissed me off. We had a whole argument about it. And then I was, oh, I'm sick of this. I'm mad. So then I invited my friends over because I need to do something fun. Like, I want to do something fun. So I invited my homie slash neighbor down, and her and her man, they came over and watched a movie. We had some popcorn. And then she comes in, and then it's just awkward. And I was so embarrassed. Like, she came in, like, barely spoke and left. And I'm like, what's going on? So then I told them about it. And I asked her if she's coming home from work because she has the two jobs. I'm like, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. She just like kept asking why. And I'm like, are you okay? Like, is she okay? Like, what's going on? Embarrassed. Just embarrassed. I don't know. Just got a whole case of beer. With this, he has a strong accent. This is so long. Power obsession. She spoke of wanting to lead. I did not want to be led. I also did not see a leader in the partner that I had. So if I wanted to, I would have just had to get somebody else. Frankly, I should have gotten with somebody else anyway. There you have it. Yeah, talk about others in power, accuse me of manipulating things with emotions as a power move. This is a power move, that is a power move. Like, no, like I speak up about my feelings because I want to speak up about my feelings because I want our connection to be strong. It's not to hold things over your head. It's not to this, that, and the third. All this weird power woo woo that's just not, no. And then I just, with the whole leading thing, it's like you're constantly changing direction, which is something that I welcomed because, yes, like find what you want to do, figure out what works for you and what doesn't. I get it. But you can't lead me. You're constantly like you're shifting directions and then expecting me to go in all these directions. I like order and peace in my life. That does not reflect that. This period of you figuring things out is you figuring things out. So go on and do that. You have the freedom and the space to do that, to become who you want to become. Don't try to drag me along like a freaking rag doll while you try to figure it out. There was talk of submission and leading, but what was strange to me was I'd known that to be affiliated with religion and hetero relationships. This was none of the above. She was an atheist. She couldn't tell me that this was something that she wanted. Instead of respecting my no, she would bring it up time and time again, time and time again. So here you are not speaking up for what you want, making it clear that this is something that you want, just asking questions about it. But I'm supposed to follow you? It's gonna be a no for me. Extremes and obsession. So I noticed that with hobbies, there would be something like skydiving, big drops, like big risky things. And where it wasn't like a big risky thing, it would be an obsession. She'd be really, really drawn to some things, but it would just be more than normal, more than typical. Like the last obsession was skating. It could still be, I don't know. And then like wanting to debate a lot. And it's just like I have no interest in debating. Like you feel how you feel. I feel how I feel. That's just that on that. It doesn't mean you can't ask questions to understand why I think the way that I think or vice versa. But arguing me down, I have no interest in doing that. Like we're on the same team. I'm all for like growing and evolving and changing my mind. I like to change my mind when changing my mind makes sense to me. Isolation. I did have periods of wondering where things were right. I did talk to a friend about some of these things, but what I didn't know was that she'd been going through some of the same things as well. So she really wasn't a great person to talk about with it because you're experiencing the same things. We're both like in this kind of a messed up situation, not really realizing the extent of it. I hadn't realized what went down until after. Now, there were things that I saw and things that I called out. I did call out manipulation a lot. When I was in it, when I was in the fog, I couldn't see it all for what it was. I also would reach out like here and there, just very selective people. And I would kind of try to be selective about what I said because I didn't want anybody to look at her crazy. Because she spoke up and like basically had an issue with me talking to anybody about the things. So I stopped. This was not great. This was not great because if you're going through something absolutely bonkers and you can't talk to anybody about it, they can just get away with so much more because if you're in it and you don't see it, what do you do? Here's just a weird instance. I don't really know what category. This probably belongs to a few categories. Now, at this point, we lived, this was 3 years. Yeah, just about 3 years in. 3 years in, living together. We had like our morning sort of routine. We're good. All right. Acknowledge each other, warm up. Then you kiki. All of a sudden, she's calling this other woman first thing in the morning to wake her up. And that to me was weird. To wake her up and just like go into full blown convo. That to me was weird. That to me was very uncomfortable because we'd gone all this time. My understanding is this is the vibe. This is how it goes. You're calling some other heifer, waking her up being the first voice that she hears, just in case she didn't wake up. She was just being a friend, like she was just helping somebody out. They wanted to wake up early, this, that, and the third. Okay. Alarm clocks. They're built into the phones. And I know that she has a phone, one, because she was using it for conversation. Two, because she came over and I saw her phone. Um, if she has a computer, you can probably set an alarm on your computer. If you don't have a computer, you can go to Amazon.com or to Target, to pretty much any store. You can probably go to a thrift shop and find an alarm clock. Why you would ask somebody who's in a relationship to call you and wake you up? And I know that some people will disagree, but this is just how I feel about it. For me, there are just some things you don't do. Like, I personally would never, I would never. And if somebody asks that of me, it's going to be a no. It's going to be a heck no. And are you okay? Would you like a magnifying glass so you can find your mind? Boundaries. Oddly enough, I trusted my partner at the time. I didn't even think anything of her. I was concerned about the other girl. I believed what she said about, like, yeah, like, I'm just trying to, like, do the right thing. Okay, well, I'm trying to do a friend thing. I get that. It just wasn't really comfortable for me at all. That to me is encroaching upon a personal space. You're gonna be the first person on a person's mind, first thing on somebody's mind in the morning. I don't. I asked some married people about that, and they were like, I asked some unmarried people about that, and they were like, no, no. Like, okay, very noble, but no. I expressed, hey, like, I'm uncomfortable with this. I'm really, like, I don't like it. It's kind of a weird ask. Told her it's not that I don't trust you. I trust you. I don't like her. And people move kind of funny. Yeah, I told her I really didn't want it to continue. She did it. I think it was the next day or maybe the next few days. Did not go well. Um, and then I was accused of being emotionally manipulative because I expected her to meet up to an expectation, and she didn't say that she wouldn't stop doing it. She went on AI. She typed in the situation, and I'm sure she typed it in fungi. The AI machine, I called it, said that that was emotional manipulation or something like that. I tried to be receptive to it. It just sounded incorrect. And I really think that's because it was. I really think that she left some things out. I don't think that it's unreasonable or abusive. If somebody says, hey, I'm really not comfortable with this and I don't really want it to continue, for them to be upset when it continues, for that to be like emotional manipulation, I was ready to skedaddle. I wish that I did, but now I know. An excessive desire for attention. There was a time where she explicitly told me that she wanted more attention. She's used to people fawning over her, like the little things that she did, or the little things about her. People would just be like at their knees, which was confusing to me because I feel like it kind of contradicted, but like it also lined up. I don't know. I don't know. I was already very attentive. I was already feeding her compliments. Like I was head over heels. I was doing most. I was doing the most. And I was patient through all of this. Okay, relax. I'm getting the compliments. You're getting the attention. I'm doing all of these things. Like I see you. Like I'm calling out your progress. Like telling her I'm proud of her. Like I'm all of these things. I'm already giving a lot. It was like, what else can I give? What do you want? Like Instagram posts and Facebook posts. I don't like all that. I'm gonna be very honest. That to me, I just feel like, a little something here and there, but maybe when we're married. That's how I feel about it. But she expressed like the little things about her, like her liking to learn. That was something that would have people going absolutely crazy. To me, that's just the standard. That's just Tuesday. And yes, it's something that's attractive, but it's like instead of just like finding it like, yeah, like, okay, that's great, that's good, I like that. It's like it had to be like, oh, I love that. Like you had to be falling at your knees, and I'm not. To me, She expressed like the little things about her, like her liking to learn. That was something that would have people going absolutely crazy. To me, that's just the standard. That's just Tuesday. And yes, it's something that's attractive, but instead of just like finding it like, yeah, like, oh, okay, that's great, that's good, I like that. It's like it had to be like, oh, I love that. Like you had to be falling at your knees, and I'm not. To me, it's like, what were the standards like where you're from? I already like it. What more do you want? What more do you want from me? Prior to moving, we go on a trip. This was her birthday trip. We have a blowout argument there. It started happening toward the end. She started making these little funky comments. And it was strange to me because these were comments very similar to ones that somebody in her family would make that she complained about at least once every 2 weeks. It happened in person, it happened in Facebook. Maybe the timing isn't correct, but pretty much any time she made a post, this person had something to say. And then in person, this person would have something to say, and it would always be weird. So then she made a comment like that to me. And here it is again. I'm just like, do you see it? Like, do you even like me? Why are you saying that? But she made a comment, had something to say about it, and then like she comes over and like tries to hug me. I don't want a hug. I want you to apologize. That was nasty. That was ugly, and I don't want you to speak to me like that. You know how it feels because I'm consoling you about these things consistently. So then she's like, I just don't know. I just don't know what to do. This just feels like a fundamental difference. It feels like a fundamental difference that when you say something nasty to somebody, something that you yourself would be offended by because you have been offended by, apologize. That's the fundamental difference. So then it turned into, you make me feel like a ghetto word who can't express myself. Something that she said a few times. I'm just like, well, what am I saying or what am I doing that makes you feel like you're a ghetto B word who can't express themselves? Well, what is it that I'm doing? And it's just like, I'm not saying that two people can't do something harmful in a situation. It's just really strange to me that when I speak up about mistreatment, somehow it goes to you. Somehow it goes to, I'm making you feel something when like I'm trying not to. One thing that I believe is if you're continuously encountering something, you have to look at yourself. It's just like, what else could I have done? What else could I have done? Continue to be more patient. At this point, it's been years. I was tired of being patient. It's been years of the same thing. It's been years of her complaining about these other things that people did, but doing them to me seemed like the beginning of the end. I didn't really feel that in the moment. I'm sure she did, and she used to make comments like, well, you'll know, like you'll know when something is on the fritz, like you'll feel it. And I'm just like, yeah, you can, but like also, two adults, like you should say something if you feel something. She's like, well, so you wouldn't know, like putting the responsibility on somebody to please lose clues to figure out how the other person feels instead of them just being a freaking adult and telling them how they feel. That's to me, that's crazy to me. So just not really being met with empathy, not really being met with care was a common thing. And that was a source of many arguments. Not really having space for my emotions, being met with emotion in the times where it really mattered the most. It wasn't something that happened all the time, but it happened enough. It happened enough, and it was very unfortunate. Time goes by, things slow down a lot. Things are actually looking great. We're looking into a new place. It's weird. It's weird how things can. A week prior to the happening that I'm going to mention, something just does not sit right in my spirit. The same way something didn't spit right in my spirit when it came to moving to those expensive locations. And I don't know if she mentioned, but she said, now that I know I would have been paying for the property myself, that's out of the question. As if she'd asked from the start. From the start. So she was planning, she was plotting on me paying for it, but didn't tell me. And they made it about me wanting my name on this thing, even though that itself was a manipulated situation. As if I was using. Like a week prior to the happening, something isn't sitting right in my gut. I'm feeling anxious. I'm feeling like, ugh, I don't know what's going on. I'm thinking it's work. I'd also experienced a lot of anxiety, so. But this was just weird. It was extra. Something whispered to me, you're going to be coming here solo. You're going to be moving alone. I said, no, that's my anxiety. That's weird. Why would that be the case? She's already told people. You're excited. We're excited. Okay. Could have been a future fake. Maybe not. Who knows? Things fall through with a unit that we wanted. Stunk. There was another unit available. There are some things about it that we didn't like. The carpet and then the color of the appliances. I don't really care too much about the color of the appliances. It's going to keep the stuff cold. It's going to have a freaking dishwasher. Like, whatever. That's fine. Selfishness and appearances. The little brother moved. He's showing the place. He's excited. He's got his new place. She's commenting on the place. Oh yeah, this is nice for your first place. Not in like a shady way, like, oh yeah, like nice for this. It seemed like genuine compliments. She's like, yeah, that's nice. I mean, this place was talking about our place now. This place was shoo, and the next place is gonna be nice. Why are you making this about you and this thing that you don't even have while he's showing his accomplishment? After you've complained time and time again about somebody else making things about them when you're trying to show them literally anything. Weird energy. I don't know. At the time, it was a little bit annoying. So it just seemed like it was about appearances. Like she really wanted the next place to be similar in caliber, like trying to show off. It seemed like she wanted to show off to other people. It could have been that I don't think that there's anything wrong with having like a certain desired look for your things, wanting things to look a certain way. I get that. My family knew we were looking at this area. We're coming to this area. This is what we looked at. Um, she put it up on Facebook. I was just so excited. I'm a really big family oriented person. And my family were starting to do some really cool things. I wanted to get her invested. Granted, there were some things that we needed to maneuver, but they were excited. They were excited. They were excited to include her. They were excited to spend time. We were going to make memories. Like we had all these plans, and it fell through. I noticed she seemed kind of funky on the phone. I just thought, okay, well, I mean, it's probably because she's upset about this falling through. I can get that. She asked if I would consider moving to another place. One of them is known for drug activity, crack. When I go in passing, crack. I'm sad, but whatever. I'm looking at different places. I'm just looking at like surrounding areas to see what's available, what things are looking like what are the reviews, just trying to do like some research. So, it's me. This isn't exactly what I wanted, but it's not just me. It's already like in my favor because my family is already there. It's already the same state and it was already the same town. So to go another town, okay. But I pick up the phone and I started expressing myself. I'm like, hey, I was really sad when I saw your message asking to move to or to look at like other places. And I didn't even really finish what I was going to say. And she's again with the dry tone, again with the lack of emotional availability or any sort of a space for emotions. So is that a no? And it sounds simple, but everything in me said no. And not for the location. Everything in me said no because here I was again trying to just have a conversation where with emotions, expressing myself to a person that I should be able to share my emotions with, and there's no space for it whatsoever. Being asked to make like a sacrifice, granted, it's not a huge one, it's really not. Granting, being asked to make an adjustment for something with somebody with a stank attitude. Somebody, you cutting me off and you're being dry and being nasty. And I just had it. I didn't want to do it anymore. I didn't want to do it anymore. And when I say it, I mean the relationship. It wasn't about moving. But I also had to figure out like how do we do this? I just had it. I'd had it. And I wish like it's like, I don't know. Part of me wishes that I just would have left the conversation again immediately instead of continuing the convo, but it continued. Yeah, I ended up like saying I'm gonna get off the phone, like, you need some time. And she didn't say anything, but like she would do this thing where she would try to hold me hostage on the phone after I say, okay, like I'm ready to end the convo. Just like not say anything. And then when I hang up, like after saying, okay, goodbye, not saying anything, she'd be like, you hung up on me. What? I'm pacing. I'm trying to figure it out. I want to break up. How do I do this? I'm in another state right now. Like, it's going to take me a long time to travel. How am I going to do this? I'm going to have to move my stuff, this, that, and the third. Just like trying to figure everything out. Also, processing what just happened, processing what I'm going to say. Like, I want to have a sit down conversation. I send a message saying I need time and space to communicate effectively because she calls twice. And then I get a message saying, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. So, yeah, not at 12 years old, not at 16 years old, at 33, 33 years old. I end up calling. She doesn't pick up. So I'm going to send a message. I'm like, are you picking up my text? I call again, nothing. I'm like, okay, well, I mean, I'll come get my things and you can keep the place. Because what? Just give me my security deposit. Eventually she calls back, or I call somebody, whoever. I need clarity. Did you just try to end this thing by a text message? This is 3 years now, going on 4. Live in, not long distance, not oh we were pen pals for 4 years, 3 years, whatever. And she sits there stone faced. Well, I called you, you didn't pick up. Not even like looking into the camera. She's like, I don't know if she was on the computer or what, but it's like she's looking elsewhere. I'm like, what? What do you mean? What? I start going off. I'm like, yeah, like you're disgusting. Like as a person, you're disgusting. You know, I also wanted to break up, but I wanted to at least do it respectfully. She's like, oh, oh, oh. So you wanted to break up too? Like shocked. Like she couldn't believe it. All of a sudden, she could find the emotion. And I kept asking. I kept asking, like, were you really gonna do that by text message? Horrible communication because it wasn't even specific. I had to call and ask. Also, I had to call to even have the conversation outside of the request for space to communicate effectively being respected. Then you're met with a lack of emotional availability, a lack of empathy, met with just a freaking robot, just like straight cold sheet of metal shaped like a human being. Um, and then she starts gaslighting me, talking about, oh, well, I mean, you know, you're just as petty as me. You're just as petty as me. Because I told you already that I tried to call you, you didn't pick up. So I had to, like, you keep asking me if I was going to do it like this, like you want me to feel bad. First of all, you should feel bad. I'm asking this question because I'm in shock. And I was in shock, and I was in shock for the next 24 hours. Mm-hmm. Disgust. Then I get apologies later on, which probably were not sincere. I get a list of things that were just seemed out of the blue, to be very honest with you. There weren't things that she discussed, there weren't things that she brought up, but now all of a sudden you feel this way, which was weird because she had asked me to be vocal about how I feel so that she's not left in the dark, so that her heart isn't in it. And then it gets broken because poof, I'm out. I'd said that, like, you were harboring these things. All of this stuff that you brought up was all old and weird and not like true. And she said, well, no, I figured it out just the same way you figured it out. No, I didn't just figure it out. Everything that I mentioned, we had had arguments before, and I mentioned before. Even the last argument, I addressed things that we'd mentioned before. This stuff that you brought up, this list, this was stuff that was old, that was harbored, and frankly was like twisted and cherry picked. There was a hoovering attempt after this. Then there was a final discard. At this point, like, I was embarrassed for her. Like, I was disgusted for me. I was in shock. Like, I was embarrassed for her because no matter what you do, no matter what you say, no matter what lie you tell to anybody, whatever you cover up, you're always going to have to live with knowing that you ended a 3 going on 4 year relationship. Live in not computer love with a text message and defended it. Bold faced, cold faced. The robot was in the building. The robot was there. Then there were apologies. I took the high road. I wasn't going back and forth with her tail anymore. I just told her like we're not aligning. That I didn't have the strength anymore. I just did not have the strength. Eventually, I don't know why, but like we started talking again, and I really wanted it to just be about the place. But then she called, and I told her don't call me unless it's about the place. And I hate that I picked up. I almost hung up, but then like I heard her crying, and I just hate that I picked up because she was just so easy to. It was just so easy for her to manipulate me, and she ended up doing that. Um, got a whole sob story about, oh, I'm so sorry, oh, I didn't mean to do it like that. But then later on, she said she didn't feel bad about it. So for some sick reason, because my mind was absolutely warped, I thought that we could be friends, and I thought like, oh, maybe we just aren't mature right now. I think the Hoover was the friendship. I think that she tried to do these little things and try to reel me back in. But what was weird to me was she asked me a few times if I was sure regarding the breakup. I wasn't the one to pull the trigger. Why are you asking me if I'm sure? I also found out that she hadn't even like told her family about it until maybe like a day later or something like that. A day or two. But she kept asking if I was sure. Even if I wasn't. It's just like regardless, I couldn't get past the fact that it ended that way. Like I was always going to see you as that. Someone who did that. And she told her family, and then I asked her about it, and then I said, well, like, did you tell them why? And she said, why I broke up? Like, with pride. She took pride in it. And then I asked if she told them that she did it by text. She said no. A narrative was created, and I know that it was. I know that she went and told false information, some false information. I know that she told some cherry picked information because what I got was that. And who knows what else was added. Then there was a final discard. I'm packing up, trying to leave, and I ended up reconnecting with an old friend from college, which was nice. And I'm leaning on my friends at the time. Like Glitter Pumpkin ended up like helping me on the last day, and I really, really appreciated that because that was a hard day. She swept the floor on her way out. I took a picture because that was such a nice thing. This was the last guest that I was gonna have in my home, and I don't know. I just wanted to like commemorate that. Put up a photo dump explaining like just like updating my family, updating my friends, updating Instagram what happened, just like letting them know, hey, I'm single. The post is still up there. I get a call, but it's work time. She's no longer priority. I'm not going to pick up any old time for you. So I call back when I can, and I'm thinking because of prior conversations, it's gonna be nice. Like, okay, cool. Like, we're able to be cordial. She picks us up, and she has a calm, cool tone. Here's where the nice nastiness comes in again. So she picks up. She's like, "Hey," I'm like, "Hey, what? Everything all right?" Yeah. I saw your picture. I'm like, "Oh, I never seen that person before." The very thing that she hated. So you have the passive aggressiveness. You have like the double standard, the disarming tone, um, knowing that she's getting at something but not saying it directly. So, like, yeah, y'all never met. This is such and such. I wanted y'all to meet, but like it was weird because of some old stuff. But yeah, I was like, oh, so this is the person you dated. Where did you get that? Because that's not what I said, and it's certainly not what happened. There was a whole bunch of rapid fire questioning with a nice, nasty tone, accusing me of things that were not true, adding in details that were not there, gaslighting me, telling me that I never mentioned this person ever, when I know for a fact that that was a lie. So, boom, 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 cherry picking all this information. And it's just, I'm like, hey, first of all, like, you're not entitled to this information. And you're getting on here with accusations instead of like asking questions to figure it out. And she says, no, I asked my questions. So she got on with a theory. She wanted to prove the theory. She wasn't ready to have a conversation. She had it set in her mind, and once it was set in her mind, it's like the paranoia all over again. And the accusations. That's it. That's absolutely it. 100%. And there's nothing that you can say. There's nothing at all that can disarm it, dispel it, disprove it, none of it. So then, like, I get off the phone because this is crazy. This is confusing as heck. This is absolute madness. And then I send a message to explain it. And she's like, the audacity of you, like, to have the new girl in our place just like that, like, barely even left. You never even said anything about it. Like, what she was saying, I would have had to have been cheating. I would have had to have been sneaky. I would have had to have been in secret contact. I blocked her, and I found out later that she went and told people a lie. That boom, I just poof, I had somebody new just like that, and I showing off. That's not me. That's never been anything I've ever done. That a lizard's tail. I've explicitly said that I don't like things like that. I don't like people moving on that quickly. That to me is some unhealed nonsense. That was my final discard. I'm hoping. I'm hoping. So yeah, I just wanted to share my story. There's more. This is already long though. I guess if it's really helpful and if anybody really wants to hear, then I'll share it. But I probably already put it in some of the other videos though. If you see any of that, please skedaddle. If you're concerned, again, that you may have run into the same person, you are absolutely welcome to slide in my DMs. That is for the people in New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Massachusetts, maybe even California, pretty much anywhere in the United States because anything can happen. But yeah, give me a name, I'll confirm or deny. I'm not putting out a name. And I do that because I just want you to be safe because this person is not. The way that they were able to do all of this is so disgustingly smooth. In fact, honestly, if y'all are even together, you probably won't know of my existence. You won't know of this channel because she knew that I was going to talk about some things. And I don't know if she's watching or if she's watched anything. My plan was to talk about starting over. My plan was to also talk about like little things like incompatibilities and this, that, and the third. Light things, not this. Not this, but now that I know what happened, yeah, I gotta talk about it. So, yeah, man. Again, this will not be the main content of my channel. No. I have some other videos. I'll try to post all of them within one to 2 days. I'll see how long it takes. And yeah, then I want to be done. Alrighty. Yeah. Thanks for stopping by. I hope that if you're in a situation like this and you get the fresh heck out of Dodge because it's not cute, it's not great, and despite how it may look and despite what they say, it's not really going to get better. I'm not saying that it's impossible. There are some self-aware narcissists. There are people who are in therapy and who are actively trying to do better. Lee Hammock is a great, great, great resource. 10 out of 10 recommend. What I'm saying is, don't hold on to the hope. They got to do that for themselves. And frankly, just go live. So, yeah, like and subscribe if the spirit moves you. I'm going to eat some cookies and I got to go make dinner. All right, bye.